Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ask Dr. Be Good podcast, where we try to bring you all the neat things happening in public education. And actually, we have a lot of amazing things happening in public education right now. This has been an extraordinary 2 weeks. Over the last 2 weeks, we have gone from being on spring break to during spring break, we learned that we might have to shut school for a week because of COVID-19. By the Thursday of the spring break, we did have to close, and then we started meeting virtually with the campus leadership, the district leadership, to say, how are we going to have school if kids are at home? And so those questions started being resolved through our constant meeting. So I've got to tell you that many of us, most of us, did not have a full spring break because we started getting word of this about Wednesday of spring break. By Thursday, we were already meeting on it. By Friday, Thursday is when the commissioner's calls started. The commissioner of education started his daily calls, even through the weekend, at 3 o'clock. And so we have been doing all this planning and organization to be able to start online school and then instructional packets for the K2 starting yesterday. And I don't want to forget that before that, last week, starting on Tuesday. Now remember, we found out on Wednesday, we started planning on Thursday. By Tuesday of the following week, we were already giving meals out, and the federal government lunch program allowed us to send home the meals for the week instead of having kids come in and eat. So that first Tuesday, we sent home thousands of meals in Mesquite and hundreds in Plano. And yesterday, Monday of the second week, we sent home 7,000 meals between Plano and Mesquite, because now we're allowed to send home 7 days worth of food. And that includes milk and cereal or breakfast for the 7 days per child. And now we're allowed to give it not only for the kids enrolled in our school, but kids not enrolled in our school, and also for kids age 1 through 18. And the reason I say 1 is because most kids aren't eating solid food until about the age of 1. Not our type of lunches anyway. So we are sending home 7 breakfasts, 7 lunches, milk, juice, and fresh fruit if it's on the menu, and so forth. So I am so proud of our support staff. This is not just our cafeteria staff, but to be able to handle that volume of meals going out the door, we have had to enlist the help of our support personnel. And let me say that this is a good time to be in public education, since it is, we're in the midst of people getting laid off from their jobs because of being asked to shelter in place and to not be outside and so forth. And so as long as we can show that we are making an attempt to instruct children and to feed children, we will get paid. Our staff members will get their salaries paid. And so that's been very heartwarming for me as a superintendent to know that our state government has made money not an issue for public educators, and they have made food not an issue for our families. They have relinquished a lot of rules and laws around the free lunch program so that we could feed more people, more kids, and not have food be a problem for our families. And so the Commissioner of Education has also been very good about ensuring that we will have school going on and making sure that it's quality school as much as we can. And I want to publicly go on record by saying that I thank the Commissioner of Education, Mike Morath, and the Texas Education Agency for relaxing a lot of the things that needed to go to help us have this this online environment and to be able to be breathing through it. And what I mean by that is that they said that we will not have STAR this year. Now that's huge for them to very early on take away the STAR as a big burden that we had to look forward to. That's a tremendous help to our educators. Being able to say to teachers, do your best. I know that not all of you are master online teachers, but because the STAR is not waiting for us at the end of this year, you have the time now and the comfort of being able to learn how to become an online teacher without thinking that you had to cram STAR prep packets down the throat of our kids during this time. So that just, I can't thank our state government and the federal government enough for allowing some of the changes early on so that we could get to this point and very quickly move forward as school districts in Texas. It's been an amazing thing to be part of this environment and understanding that actually Legacy is way ahead of the game when it comes to online work, especially in our upper grades. Because we're new tech, our students and our teachers have had ECHO, which is the learning platform for grades 6 through 12. And the work that they normally do is online. It's uploaded to ECHO, the learning platform. And so even last week, we had kids who, if they had a device at home, could start or really continue the work that had already been uploaded into ECHO before spring break, because teachers use ECHO as their normal learning platform. So it's just been very nice to know that new tech has helped ease the way for our secondary teachers to quickly get our students online. Let me talk about what's happening in the K-5. The K-5, even though they had classroom sets of devices, laptops, or iPads, they didn't necessarily live online like the secondary kids have done for so many years. And so we gravitated towards the Google Classroom platform because it's a well-known platform. Many districts already use it, and it's an easy environment to learn for parents and kids. I know parents that some of you are saying it's not easy. Well, you're right. For some of you who don't live in our world and haven't thought that you would have to live in our world, you're having to take a greater interest in our world than what you ever have before. And we want to thank you for that. We know that you being the primary teacher in the home is playing out a little bit differently than what you thought of in the past. And we thank you for every bit of help that you are giving us and the kids to be able to make sure that they don't lose much instruction. Because it is a real thing to have a learning loss, for example, during the summer. Many of our children who forget to read and whose parents don't always make them read during the summer, they actually they take a step backwards in their reading and math skills. And so this is an opportunity to not let that happen, both with your help and our teachers' help. So the Google Classroom, I heard, is a little glitchy right now. There's two things I want to make sure I tell parents. One is that you can't log in with your Gmail. You have to only, if you want to log in, it has to be with your child's Legacy account. That's number one. Number two is, because we had so many filters on our network, some of those filters are now interfering with some of your children being able to get online. Our IT department is working furiously to undo those filters and to do a wraparound, as we call it, a workaround on that, and we'll be posting what to do on that very shortly. Okay, so I've caught you up a little bit about what's supposed to happen. Let me talk about the K2. So the K2 right now, they don't have devices, and what we're doing is we are waiting until devices that we have for the grades 3 through 12 are picked up. That will give us an idea of what kids don't need one, because they may have a device already in the home. And that will let us count how many computers and devices we have left over, and then start sending some home to the second grade. And then if we have some more, we'll start with the first grade. And then the federal government has allowed us to budget a little bit of money for extra costs associated with COVID-19. So we've put in for an extra $25,000 to buy extra devices if we need to. So that all of that's going on, and hopefully we can get devices down to the K2 sooner rather than later. But again, our focus has been on the upper grades, because remember, we don't want kinders and first and second grade to be on a device all day. Not that we want third grade either, but their work in third grade starts to be a little stronger. And so it was imperative that we get devices to starting in third grade. The focus for K2 right now are instructional packets and the softwares. You know, we've always had software expectations. You've always heard from teachers and myself that we would love for you to make sure your child gets 30 minutes of reading and math software work during the weekend. And those softwares have been around a long time. We have, and I won't name them all because there's different softwares for different grades, so I don't want to get it wrong. But all of that is in a letter that I wrote for parents in anticipation for yesterday. So if you've not seen my letter of what is happening this week, it was messengered out. It was posted on our Legacy website and our Facebook page. If you're not getting the information, you may want to call the school and make sure that we have your correct information. It's been amazing how many parents have changed their email since they gave it to us the first time, maybe years ago. And so we're finding that a lot of parents are needing to call us and give us updated email and cell phone information. So, you know, there are benefits. We always try to look for the silver lining here, and that's one of the silver linings. Now, we have a couple of people with us today. You can't see them because we're having to do the podcast remotely. And that is because our podcast company is in Dallas. And as you know, some of you, that Dallas has the order of sheltering unless you're an essential business. And so if we can't do it that way, we'll do it this way. We're doing it remotely from our own homes. And that is the power of technology today. Matter of fact, I don't know if some of you logged into our board meeting on Saturday. Saturday, we had a remote board meeting, and the link was sent out to employees and the public. And we actually did have 30 people on during that board meeting. And it was neat seeing and hearing people's reaction to the board meeting. I had several people tell me that they were very comforted by the care that they heard in the voices of the board members around the situation. So I think that may become a best practice. So the two people that we have are our nurse and nurse medic from Mesquite and Plano. So how about our nurse starting off and introducing yourself, and then we'll put it over to Plano.
Hello, my name is Maggie Ortiz. I'm the nurse over at our elementary campus in Mesquite.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Ferguson. I am the medic over at the Plano campus.
And so ladies, I asked you to come on because I really felt like it was important that we still have some updated information on COVID. It seems like even though we're being inundated with information, sometimes we have to focus ourselves on the important parts of it. What do you guys say is the most important part that you want parents to remember today about COVID-19?
Hand washing is probably the most important thing with this virus going around right now.
There have been some terrific hand washing videos, which I'll put into the comment box There was one that the one in Spanish was actually better than the one in English because it showed there's white gloves. There's a lady, well, you just see the white gloved hands. And then she puts red paint in her hand and she does a normal hand washing. And then you look at the white glove and how much was not covered by the soap. And why it is that you have to include your thumb and your under your nails and all that. And so I thought that was a very powerful one. And the other one, I think I posted this one, the English one, showed that under blue light, how many COVID cooties you could still have on your hands after 10 seconds of hand washing versus 20 seconds, and there was none after 20 seconds. So some of these videos have been very powerful, visual opportunities for our parents to share with kids on hand washing. What else?
Well, can I say something about the hand washing as well? The video that you're talking about with the gloves, that is probably the best one that I've seen out there, because you think and realize, because we all think that we are washing our hands on a regular basis. We go in and you don't sit up there and count to 20. And when you're doing it by an actual clock, 20 seconds, it seems like a long time, but in reality, it's really not, because you have to get those germs off. You have to get under your nose. You have to get on the side of the thumb. You have to do all of that. So I just wanted to add that to it.
Would you help parents know how, when you say count to 20, would you count to 5 at least? Because I have a feeling that we're getting a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No, it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a good way to explain the 20 seconds would be, there have been examples of singing the happy birthday song 2 times. Sorry about that. I am also have a young one at home as well, so I apologize about that. Or singing the ABC song, or Baby Shark when you get up to down. Or for some of those who are a little bit more in their faith, you could say the Lord's Prayer, and that's a good 20 seconds.
Those are great examples. Thank you. So what else? I know that you guys had a list of things on your agenda.
Yes, another thing is, I know we all do this, is to try to avoid touching your face. That's a big one. When you cough or you sneeze, make sure that you're covering your mouth. Disinfecting objects, whether at home or at work or wherever you may be.
Stay at home when you're sick.
Yes.
I've always said that, and I know that there's times that you just feel like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's okay, let's send them to school, let's go to work. I think at this time and point where we're at right now in the world, we really need to stay on top of that. I mean, if you feel a little bit sick, watch it for a day or two, follow the guidelines of what they're saying, of symptoms. And then it goes back to something you said earlier, Dr. Good, about, you think about things, and you can overthink things. It's easy to overthink things. It's easy to sit up there and you get a little cough. For example, I have really bad allergies, and here comes allergy season. It's easy to get a little cough, and then in your mind will play, oh my gosh, here's one symptom. And you can work yourself up thinking, oh my gosh, here comes all the COVID symptoms. You really have to grasp where you're at, monitor your symptoms, monitor, the reality of what's going on. But yes, back to staying at home when you're sick is another big one. Maggie, do you want to add to that?
Well, and I was going to say, as far as the symptoms go, they're saying fever, dry cough, fatigue, shortness of breath. It could come up anywhere between 2 to 14 days from being exposed, or to possibly being exposed to the virus.
How do we know it's not the flu?
Well, the flu usually comes on a little bit more abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it can cause fever, chills, body aches, congestion, headaches. The safe bet is to always call your physician. Call the office. Don't just show up at the doctor's office. Don't just show up at an emergency room, unless you're absolutely at a point where you need an emergency care. But that's how you can kind of differentiate some of the symptoms. Not everybody is going to be symptomatic, though. So it's
Mhm.
knowing your own body and knowing what feels right and what doesn't, and contacting your physician.
What have you ladies done differently? You know, you're home, you've got kids. What are you doing differently?
Well, I'd like to start out on that because not only being in the work field, I also have a young one at home. So to learn the balance of trying to help educate the child and still be able to get online and do work or communicate with my coworkers, you know, hey, let's work on this. Yeah, there was an example a while ago where you could hear him crying in the background. So it is, and I feel for people who have more than one. And so it is, you have to learn to balance it. So I'm learning that. I have started cooking in home more than ever, which is a good thing. I mean, we all tend to, the way that the world is set up, they've made it so easy for us to just go out and buy something, and it's less expensive to go buy a 4-meal, 4-package, what is it, a family of 4, you know, you could spend under $20. But is it as healthy? No. So I'm learning to cook. I'm doing more cooking and I'm learning new recipes. And it's actually been kind of fun because it made me realize that I miss cooking.
Are you involving your little one? Because I saw a teacher who had posted cooking with, actually it was her grandchild online, one of our district teachers. And so I thought, well, that's sort of fun.
I haven't been that brave yet.
Yours is 4 and hers was 2. So
Oh,
I dare you.
wow. Yeah. But I only leave my house when necessary, just because you have to still practice the social distancing. You know, at first it was 3 feet. Now, was it Hopkins, the hopkinsmedicine.org is stating 6 feet. And that's what I think everybody is going with now. I continue to take my vitamins. You know, I've taken vitamins for a while, but more so than ever, you know, there were times that I would forget a day or forget a day or night and stuff. I'm on top of that. It's things that it unfortunately reminds us that we need to take care of ourselves. When it's been cold outside or rainy, like it has these last few days, I'm walking up and down my stairs more than ever to try to get some exercise in.
Mhm.
Don't even go there. My gym is closed, and I'm trying to figure out this new norm of my having to figure out how do I replace what I was doing with equipment. And so that's been hard for me. And as far as remembering to take our vitamins and such, you know, I'm probably one of the healthiest old people that you know. And yet, even I'm not only, of course, taking my supplements like I do because I take no medicine, but I have added elderberry to my repertoire. Although, let me go on record by saying I've read that if you do get COVID, you should not take elderberry or ibuprofen. They both have the same stuff. So
I did see that.
yeah, so I'm taking the elderberry to make sure my immune system stays strong enough so that I don't catch it. But if I do catch it, I have to stop taking it.
Right,
But,
right.
whew, there's a lot to keep track of. Any last words on this part?
Well, you know, another thing that I've done is, in some people you hear it, some people do, some people don't. When I come in my house, I remove my short shoes at the door. I've always done that, but I've walked in sometimes and realized that I haven't. I have been very vigilant about doing that, removing my shoes at the door. I have gotten to the point where if I go out, for instance, I was at the campus yesterday, as soon as I walked in, I took my clothes off, I put them in the water, and I took a complete shower.
Me too.
Cautions. Some people may say, oh, you're going overboard. Some people may say that's a good idea. I would rather be overcautious than undercautious.
Well, I've heard that a lot from the medical field about making sure you sort of strip off in the garage and put it right in the washing machine. And I will tell you that I have a husband whose immune system is a little compromised due to the cancer. And so I've tried to be very vigilant with myself, especially when I'm out. Like Monday, I was out at all places, Mesquite, central office, Plano, and then I came in and I put everything in the washing machine so that I can be, you know, help my husband not catch it. So
Right.
thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. We don't have much time left, but I did want to talk about a little something, and that is, folks, you need to still get outside. You need to get outside and exercise your kids. Uh, yes, you can't go to a park with lots of people. You can't play basketball because that's close contact, and a lot of times you crash into each other, but you can go outside and have walking trips, walk the dog. And that's good for your mental health. And child abuse cases are up all of a sudden because of cabin fever. Spousal abuse is up, pet abuse is up. We have got to be more mindful of our relationship with each other, being cooped up like we are. You must be strategic in making sure that you don't get to the point where you want to hurt your child, want to hurt your dog, and so forth. And again, I'm not saying every single one of us would want to do that, but the cases are already up. It's being reported on the news. And so we need to be vigilant on ourselves and watch that with our relatives and loved ones. When you see them close to snapping, it may be time to go outside for a walk. And I did want to add, there's a motivational speaker who sent something not long ago, and I thought it was good timing. If you want to be happy, you need to do these things. How to get undepressed. So, and there's 4 ways. Focus on the positive. Cope, don't mope. Even when the negative greatly outweighs the positives, like now, it makes no sense to be depressed over them when you could instead be enjoying their benefits. Time with family, a chance to clean out the garage or your closet, to read books that have been on the shelf, to organize and scan that box of photos. Just push the bad thoughts out of your mind, except when you have to deal with a negative situation in the moment, and then it's past. This is BillyGriggs.com. When I feel myself getting depressed, he says, I simply refuse to give in. I reason with myself. Getting depressed feels horrible, and it never helps, so I'm not going there. I promise myself that tomorrow morning I'll wake up with a new lease on life and attack my challenges head on. The third thing, get ready to seize the opportunity when good times return. When we get the go ahead to be able to be a little bit more outside, to go places a little bit more, maybe actually eat in a restaurant, then you'll be ready to seize that moment and go. But until then, just let that be one of those things that awaits us in a near future. And then I thought was especially good. Develop what I call an action grid. Make a list of every area in life in which you want to make progress, and write down one small thing to do in each category. It never fails to renew the sense of purpose and accomplishment for a person. And here's an example. So what he's done is he has 3 columns: completed, category, and action. And so for him, he's got under completed, it's blank, and then he would check off as he completes. The second column is category, and he's got son, friends, marriage, home repairs, magic, I guess he practices magic, health, career, business, website, and Spanish. And so then the action for son, for example, is call my son at college and ask how he's doing. The friends, call James and Tony. Marriage, take a bike ride with the wife. Home repairs, spend 30 minutes cleaning the garage. Magic, practice the dollar bill trick. Health, do 50 push-ups. Career, schedule webinars and upload, and so forth. So I won't read every single one, but I thought it was a great idea so that as we check things off, we can feel a sense of accomplishment and not lead one to a lack of purpose. So create your own grid and put a check mark in the left column when each item is completed. Don't stop until all the items are checked off. And at the end of the day, your sense of progress will be palpable and your spirit will be lighter. Tomorrow, rinse and repeat. It's guaranteed to undepress you. I thought that was something good to share as another strategy to keep lightening our load. Don't let that COVID news, you may have to turn off the TV, darn it, but don't let that COVID-19 beat you or your family. So ladies, thank you for being on. If not, we couldn't go to the podcast place, but we brought the podcast to us with great information to share with our parents. And so we thank you for bringing that to us and sharing what you're doing in your own homes to work in this new environment. So thank you, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.